Have you ever had one of those days where you snap at someone you care about and then, hours later, you find yourself replaying the moment over and over in your mind? The words echo, the regret settles in, and suddenly you're swimming in a sea of shame and self-judgment. Maybe you wonder why you reacted that way, or wish you could take it all back. It's a feeling that can linger, coloring the rest of your day, making you question your own goodness. Or maybe you've promised yourself, again, that you'll finally tackle that big project, start that new habit, or make a change. But when the moment comes, you find yourself scrolling through your phone, lost in distractions, or staring at your to-do list, feeling completely overwhelmed. The cycle of procrastination repeats, and you wonder if you'll ever break free from it. These moments of frustration, avoidance, and discomfort are deeply, unmistakably human. They're messy, sometimes painful reminders that we're not perfect, that we stumble and falter, even when we try our best. We all have days when we feel out of sync with ourselves and the world around us. Each of us carries habits, patterns, and quirks that trip us up, what some might call character defects. Maybe it's impatience, self-doubt, perfectionism, or a tendency to withdraw when things get tough. These traits can feel like obstacles, things we wish we could simply erase. But what if, instead of seeing these as flaws to be fixed, we saw them as invitations to pause, to get curious about ourselves, and to ask, what's really going on beneath the surface? What are these moments trying to teach me about who I am, and who I want to become? These invitations call us to be compassionate, with ourselves and with others. They remind us that growth doesn't come from harsh self-criticism, but from gentle curiosity and understanding. When we open up about our struggles, we find connection, empathy, and support. This journey isn't about erasing our flaws or chasing some impossible standard of perfection. It's about learning to accept ourselves, to sit with our discomfort, and to recognize that our imperfections are part of what make us real and relatable. Embracing our whole selves, the light and the shadow, the strengths and the struggles, means making peace with the messiness of life. It means finding beauty in the chaos, and joy in the ordinary, imperfect moments we share with others. For every so-called defect, there's an opposite virtue waiting to be discovered and cultivated. Impatience can become determination. Self-doubt can lead to humility. Even our mistakes can open the door to kindness, forgiveness, and growth. The goal isn't to become flawless, but to build deeper connections with ourselves and with the people around us. When we share our true selves, we invite others to do the same, creating a space where everyone feels seen and accepted. This is the journey of wholehearted living. It begins with the honest admission that we are all, in our own ways, beautifully imperfect, and that's exactly what makes us human. Let's shine a gentle light on what we often keep in the dark. Naming our defects isn't about shame, it's about clarity and growth. Here are some common shadows: arrogance, blame, control, dishonesty, envy, fear, greed, hate, impatience, judgment, laziness, manipulation, negativity, and more. Obstinacy, pessimism, quarrelsomeness, resentment, self-pity, thoughtlessness, unforgiveness, vanity, worry, xenophobia, yielding to temptation, zealotry. Recognizing these patterns is the first courageous step toward change. For every shadow, there's a light, a virtue that lifts us up. These aren't unattainable ideals, they're daily practices. Some examples: humility, accountability, trust, honesty, gratitude, courage, generosity, love, patience, acceptance, diligence, sincerity, optimism, and more. Flexibility, hope, harmony, forgiveness, resilience, consideration, mercy, modesty, peace of mind, open-mindedness, self-control, tolerance. The beauty is in the choice. When we feel envy, we can practice gratitude. When tempted to blame, we can choose accountability. This isn't about pretending we don't have defects, it's about intentionally choosing to practice the virtue instead. This is the real work of transformation, and it's available to all of us.
Where do these defects come from? Often, they're coping mechanisms, armor we built as kids to survive chaos or pain. For example, a need for control might come from growing up in unpredictability. Blame might protect us from shame. Dr. Gabor Mate explains that many defects are adaptations to early stress or trauma. But here's the hope: our brains can change. Neuroplasticity means we can build new habits. Every time we practice a virtue, we carve a new path in our brain. As James Clear says, small, consistent actions lead to big change. Shifting from defect to virtue isn't a leap, it's laying one brick at a time. Tiny acts repeated transform our lives.
Let's see how this plays out in real life.
Sarah, a successful project manager, struggled with control, micromanaging at work, overplanning at home. Her need for control was armor from a chaotic childhood.
It helped her succeed, but eventually suffocated her and her loved ones.
Our greatest strengths, when driven by fear, can become our biggest defects.
Michael struggled with envy, constantly comparing himself to others online, missing the good in his own life.
His envy was rooted in insecurity, a story from childhood that he wasn't good enough.
These stories show how defects can steal our joy and connection.
But they also show that change is possible.
The real magic of personal growth unfolds when we actively choose to practice the opposite of our ingrained habits, when we reach for the virtue that challenges us most. It's not just about knowing what's right, but about living it, moment by moment, in the real world. Every day we're given countless opportunities to choose patience over frustration, kindness over indifference, and trust over control. These choices, though small, are where transformation truly begins.
For Sarah, the turning point wasn't a single dramatic event, but a series of gentle shifts. She started therapy, opening up about her fears and doubts. Gradually, she practiced trust, letting go of her need to micromanage at work and at home. She allowed herself to be vulnerable, to ask for help, and to accept support from those around her. In doing so, she created space for genuine connection and unexpected moments of joy.
As Sarah let go of her grip on control, she discovered something beautiful: spontaneity. She laughed more freely with friends, played with her child without worrying about the mess, and found herself deepening relationships she once kept at arm's length. The more she trusted, the more she realized that life's richest moments often come when we surrender our need to orchestrate every detail.
Meanwhile, Michael took a different path. He began a gratitude journal, jotting down even the smallest good things each day. A kind word from a colleague, a warm cup of coffee, a quiet moment at sunset. At first it felt awkward, but over time he noticed a shift in his perspective. He started to see abundance where he once saw lack.
As the days passed, gratitude began to rewire Michael's brain. He found himself genuinely celebrating the successes of others, rather than feeling envious or left behind. He noticed joy in his own life, even in ordinary moments, and his relationships grew warmer and more supportive.
Practicing virtue didn't erase the old habits overnight, but it loosened their grip. Each time Michael paused to appreciate something good, or Sarah chose trust over control, they weakened the hold of their old patterns and made room for something new.
Both Sarah and Michael discovered that transformation isn't about grand gestures. It's about small, intentional choices. Reaching out to a friend, offering help to a neighbor, or simply pausing to breathe before reacting. These moments, repeated day after day, can quietly reshape our lives.
Virtue is not a finish line to cross, but a practice to return to again and again. It's a journey of becoming, shaped by the choices we make in ordinary moments.
Every sunrise brings a new chance to choose. An invitation to practice courage, compassion, and gratitude, no matter what yesterday looked like.
This is how real, lasting change happens. Not all at once, but through the steady, hopeful practice of virtue in the real world.
The struggle between defect and virtue is timeless.
Abraham Lincoln transformed quarrelsomeness into humility and harmony, uniting rivals for a greater cause.
Nelson Mandela, after decades of suffering, chose forgiveness over resentment, inviting former jailers to his inauguration.
These stories show that choosing virtue over defect isn't just personal, it can heal nations.
We all have the power to choose our better angels.
It's not about being perfect, but about practicing courage, empathy, and forgiveness.
That's how we change ourselves and the world. So how do we start? The journey from simply noticing our habits to actually changing them can feel overwhelming, but it always begins with a single, intentional step. It's not about overhauling your entire life overnight, but about making one small, conscious choice at a time. Think of it as a three-step dance: awareness, acceptance, action. Each step is essential, and together, they create a rhythm for real, lasting change.
Start by noticing your patterns. Name them without judgment. When you catch yourself feeling impatient, say to yourself, "This is impatience." If you notice envy, acknowledge, "This is envy." By labeling your emotions and reactions, you create a little space between you and the feeling, making it easier to respond thoughtfully instead of reacting automatically. This gentle self-awareness is the foundation for growth.
Acceptance means acknowledging these defects as part of being human, not something to fight or hate. It's about understanding that everyone has struggles, and that these imperfections don't make you unworthy or broken. Instead, they're simply part of your story. When you accept yourself with kindness, you create the safety needed for real transformation.
Then, take action. Practice the opposite virtue, starting small. If you're working on patience, try pausing for a breath before responding. If you want to be more generous, offer a compliment or a helping hand. These actions don't have to be grand. Even the smallest effort counts. Over time, these tiny steps add up to big changes. For example, if you struggle with laziness, just put on your shoes and walk outside. You don't have to run a marathon. Just stepping out the door is a victory. The key is to make the action so small that it feels doable, even on your hardest days. If negativity is your pattern, write down one good thing each day. It could be something as simple as a warm cup of coffee or a kind word from a friend. Over time, these small moments of gratitude can shift your perspective and help you see more of the good in your life.
These tiny habits build momentum and new neural pathways in your brain. Each time you choose awareness, acceptance, and action, you're literally rewiring yourself for resilience and growth. It's a slow process, but every repetition makes it easier. Remember, this is a practice, not a performance. There's no need to be perfect or to get it right every time. What matters is showing up again and again with curiosity and compassion for yourself. You'll stumble, and that's not just okay, it's expected. Every mistake is a chance to learn, to laugh, and to try again. Growth is messy, and that's what makes it real. The journey isn't a straight line, it's a spiral, looping back on itself each time with a little more awareness and a little more compassion. You'll revisit old patterns, but each time you'll bring new wisdom and strength. The goal isn't perfection, but to keep showing up, choosing courage and connection, even when it feels hard. Support from others can make all the difference, so don't be afraid to reach out or lean on your community. That's how we build a wholehearted life, one small, brave step at a time, together. We've named our shadows and our light, explored why we stumble, and seen how change happens. The list of defects and virtues can feel overwhelming, but transformation happens in small, daily choices. My invitation: don't try to change everything, just pick one virtue: patience, gratitude, honesty, courage, forgiveness. Let that be your focus and your practice. Write it down, tell a friend, begin. Take one small, imperfect step, then another. This is how we change and grow. This is how we build a life of meaning, one wholehearted choice at a time.